Carson Wentz, was he believable to you this week when he said just another game against the Eagles?
No chance, Jody, man. I wasn't born yesterday.
All right, speaking of lightning striking, let's punch him up here just if for nothing else, a quickie 5-minute, 10-minute spot. Grant Paulsen from the Fan Down in our nation's capital, good enough to jump in with us. We'll give him a pass because he either forgot or had computer issues or whatever. It's good to see his smiling face. Grant, we'll just keep you for a couple minutes because Johnny's got to run. Carson Wentz, was he believable to you this week when he said just another game against the Eagles?
No chance, Jody, man. I wasn't born yesterday. Hey, we've all had relationships, right? I mean, we haven't all been NFL quarterbacks, but there's no way. This is a business about humans, right? And Carson Wentz is human. There is no way this is another game. Zippy chance, not a belief in the world that what he said was true. Now, I'll say this. I do take him at his word, and I do think it's true because we can relate to this too, that when the game starts, I don't think it'll be on his mind as he's like taking a snap in shotgun or dropping back and surveying and progressing through reads. But all of his prep this week, there's no doubt in my mind. He would love to play great. He would love to beat the Eagles. The way I said it on my show, guys, was if he got to pick a game this season to have 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, it would be against the Eagles, right? This means a lot to him. He wants to play well. He's got a lot of help. McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. This is a tremendous trio of wide receivers. Logan Thomas, the tight end, is back healthy and playing well. The offensive line was terrible in the first half against the Lions, but has been really good dating back to last year when they were ranked 6th via PFF. So he's not doing this on his own. He's got a chance to look good. There's a reason he's played as well as he has through 2 games. They got a pretty good offense and a pretty good scheme, but absolutely not. You guys know better. This game means so much to him.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to get that 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, though, Grant, because I don't know if you know, but the 85 Bears are coming to town. So, I mean, the hype is unreal around this team. You see it after Monday night. Jalen Hurts is now number 3 on the betting markets when it comes to MVP. Nick Sirianni, Coach of the Year, number 2. Eagles are 10-1 to go to Super Bowl. What are they thinking down in Washington? Are they cowering in fear of this powerful juggernaut?
They are, actually, yes. Which, the team isn't, obviously. That's not how teams think or operate. But the fan base certainly is in that, number one, I don't think the fan base thinks highly of this team. They're beaten down. It's been 30 years since Washington's been good. They haven't won a playoff game since 2005 when I was a junior in high school. So, I mean, they are not particularly excited about the matchup. To your point, I do believe the hype on the Eagles is getting a little bit out of hand. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks and we're so reactionary. I would ask if this was week 10 and week 11 and they beat the Lions the way they did, and I know they handled them and it wasn't indicative of the score necessarily, but then they beat the Vikings in the way that they did on primetime. If those were just 2 games mid-season, would we be saying some of the same things? I mean, I'm looking at some power rankings where they're like 3rd behind the Bills and the Chiefs now. It's a little bit out of hand. It's a little bit crazy. That's not to say that the Eagles aren't better. They should win. That's not to say that the Eagles shouldn't win the NFC East because I think they're the best team in the division. But you just watch football every week, and you see these teams, other than the Bills so far, there really isn't a team that looks like it's above some type of weak regression, right? I mean, we think teams are really good, and then they lay an egg. Survivor pools are getting destroyed every single week. So you got a short week. You're on the road. Those 2 things, as a general rule, are disastrous for teams. After Monday Night Football, to have a short week and to hit the road, generally the percentage of playing like you're used to drops off substantially. Now, it's a minimal road trip, obviously, down 95, and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal that you have 1 less day rest than a team you're better than. But my point is just look up some of the Sharp analytics from Warren Sharp on that.
Yeah.
That's the best team normally to bet against is a team on short rest that's traveling. So if you're Washington, look, the Eagles have not yet really played a game they want back. Almost every team in football is. You hope that this is the week that happens.
All right, Grant, 2 things. expectations. Know you know these guys are on top of everything. What you expected the Commanders to be before the season ever started. One thing that has surprised you positively and one thing that has surprised you negatively. That they're better than you thought they were going to be 2 weeks ago. And damn, I thought they'd be better at this than they have been for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, so I was excited about their receiver core. It's better than I thought by far. In that I was hopeful that Curtis Samuel would be healthy, but I got to see it to believe it mode. Miracle on 34th Street style. Like last year, this guy, Curtis Samuel, every week we heard he was going to play, he was going to make an impact, and it just didn't happen. It was like dangling something in front of us, and then we go reach it, and he was gone. Now he's healthy, and he's everything that they've kind of promised. 20 targets through 2 weeks. I mean, the offense is effectively built around Curtis Samuel in that, like Deebo Samuel, he is all over the place. He lines up outside, inside in the slot primarily. He's in the backfield. They give him carries. They give him jet sweeps. I mean, he is really a fixture in everything that they do. So because of that element that I wasn't banking on, you've got McLaurin. You guys know this. He's got the most receiving yards against the Eagles since he came into the league. Yeah. He's really good. You got Jahan Dotson, who's the first rookie, I think, in 20 years or something to have 3 touchdown catches in his first 2 weeks, who at a Penn State is the truth. I mean, this guy's a great route runner, a technician, good hands. And then you had Curtis Samuel as a playmaker to that. This is, in my opinion, and I've looked through all the years, you guys might have a take on this. This is the best wide receiver core Carson Wentz has played with, and I don't think it's close. So you add the element of Samuel as a ball carrier to that, and really their offensive line, their tight ends, it's a good offense, better than I would have expected. The problem is that the defense is worse than I thought it was going to be. And I was sounding the alarm for months leading up to the season that they didn't do enough on defense. But I thought, well, it's a weak quarterback schedule. It's a weak offenses. You know, luckily they've got Jared Goff in week 2, or luckily they deal with Trevor Lawrence in his first game as a sophomore in week 1. They have been pushed around on defense constantly. This unit is going to struggle all season. Their linebacking core is thin. Their secondary is at times unable to communicate in a way that helps them to avoid big plays. They give up 3 plays of 49 or more yards this week. 49 or more. 3 plays. Their D-line's really good, guys. You know about John Allen, Daron Payne, Montez Sweat. When he's healthy, he's not right now. Chase Young, that's 4 first-round picks. But they had their top 2, second line, or I should say backup D tackles leave this offseason. Matt Ioannidis went to Carolina. Tim Settle went to Buffalo. To replace those 2 guys, they brought in 1 guy, so they got worse. And they drafted Fidarian Mathis out of Alabama in the 2nd round. He's out for the year, was lost in week 1. So they're already at D tackle legitimately, this is not an exaggeration, signing guys off practice squads to get 15 or 20 snaps. I mean, they will have John Ridgeway, who they signed, a 5th-round pick this year, off the Cowboys practice squad, playing a dozen or so or more snaps, I bet you, this week against a team that wants to run the ball. So that's a real problem, and it's a bigger issue than I thought it would be, Jody Mack.
Grant, great stuff. Appreciate you coming on board. Sorry we couldn't hook up earlier. We're going to let you run because I got to let Johnny run too because he's got to get over to a Nick Sirianni press gathering. Appreciate a couple of minutes. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
You're getting from the beach to a press conference that quick?
Yeah, that quick, man. That's quick.
Impressive. No, sorry for my tardiness, and let's talk after the game.
Thanks, Grant.